Eden Memorial Chapels understands Jewish funerals can take many forms. Some are very Orthodox, while others are more conservative or of a Reformed nature. There's no one better in New York or New Jersey. Go to EdenMemorial.com.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
Well, joining us now to talk about this enormous development in the Middle East is Professor Alan Dershowitz. War Against the Jews is his big book. Professor Dershowitz, we couldn't wait to talk with you today. First of all, what incredible news, thanks to the Israelis.
It's great. It's great for the Palestinians. I think many Palestinians are quietly cheering the Israelis today, saying thank you for ridding us of this terrible man who has inflicted so much damage on us by using us as human shields. The vast majority of people who have been killed in the Gaza Strip are not innocent civilians. They are a combination of terrorist fighters and people who cheered for the terrorist fighters. Remember these videotapes where you see these women being dragged in and having just been raped and being attacked, and all these, quote, civilians are cheering them on and hitting the people and everything. Those are the people who are the collateral damage who are being killed. So, I shed a tear for every child who's killed and every totally innocent person, but I don't shed any tears for the Hamas supporters who happen not to be members of Hamas, who were killed because they're being used as human shields. And today, of course, we see the death of the snake, the leader, and what a good result that is. And I hope it brings about the return of the hostages. What the great fear is that the irrational and horribly evil Hamas leaders will try to take revenge on some of the hostages. They've already killed, close to a dozen hostages, innocently murdered them while they have their hands tied. And the worry is that they may try to do more of that. I hope not. I hope Israel persists in its attack. The other thing that I think we have to say, both President Obama and Vice President Harris issued kind of victory lap statements today about how wonderful this was. It would never have happened if Israel had listened to them. They had said, don't go into Rafah. Don't go after Sinwar. Let it be. And thankfully, Israel didn't listen and sent its soldiers in. And in the course of a military attack, they killed Sinwar. So the big lesson is, the United States does not know what's in the best interest of Israel when it comes to Israel protecting itself. Israel has to make its own decisions to protect its own people, just the way we make our own decisions on how to protect our own people, and as we did after 9/11.
You know what? I heard today also, Professor Dershowitz, and I know you're close to Prime Minister Netanyahu. Yeah. And Prime Minister Netanyahu, to me, it was such a leader statement today. And he came out and said, first of all, this is great news, obviously, for Israel and the world. And then he said to everybody there, like you said, in Gaza, the good people, this is good news for you, and the bad people, you better, hand in your weapons right now and turn over the hostages, or else you are next.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, and they will be next. And nobody who participated in the events of October 7th should live to see their children and grandchildren grow up. They have to be dealt with in a way that's just and in a way that's appropriate, and that means death or arrest. They can't be allowed to live their good lives if they participate in any way, by cheering, by supporting, by financing what happened on October 7th. By the way, the same is true of college kids today. You're going to see college kids today in the United States at places like Harvard cheering on Sinwar. They're going to make a martyr out of him. They're going to say it was terrible what Israel did, that he was a great man. Certainly the National Lawyers Guild is going to be praising Sinwar, as they have in the past. And, we live in a topsy-turvy world. And we in America have to hold accountable people who support Hamas. And whether they be professors at Columbia, and there are plenty of those, or students.
By the way, you brought up the Lawyers Guild. We're all shaking our head. What has the Lawyers Guild said about this horrible, brutal man who was behind October 7th?
National Lawyers Guild, the day after October 7th, praised Hamas for doing what they did, said it was part of a national liberation struggle. What they did was appropriate, and it was all Israel's fault.
They did a big press release about it.
And every major law firm in New York has lawyers who belong to the National Lawyers Guild. They have branches on every law school campus in the United States. They are anti-American, they're anti-Semitic, they're anti-Israel, they're anti-everything decent. The National Lawyers Guild, remember that. Nobody should hire anybody who belongs to the National Lawyers Guild. It's like belonging to the Nazi Party.
Wow, that is really stunning. Governor Patterson.
Yes, that is pretty much their position, and it was their position even before October 7th.
But it started, the National Lawyers Guild started as an alternate to the American Bar Association. It had all kinds of liberal people in it, good people, and then they were taken over by the Soviet Union. They became a communist front. They became a complete, they're pro-North Korea. They're anti-American. They're, of course, anti-Israel. And everybody ought to understand what the National Lawyers Guild is, because every single law school, major law school in America has a National Lawyers Guild branch, and people are hiring people from the National Lawyers Guild without knowing it.
Alan, what is your view about how people either change their minds or get sucked into this kind of an effort, which is totally hurting people who have never hurt them?
No, it's true. And that's why I wrote my new pamphlet, this new pamphlet that's coming out in a couple of weeks, called the 10 Big Anti-Israel Lies and How to Respond to Them. I'm trying to get 1 million copies of that to at 1,000 schools so that people with open minds can understand who they're supporting when they march with Hamas. It has answers to all of the accusations made against Israel, and we have to respond to falsehoods with truth. That's what I've been trying to do. I don't want to censor anybody. I just want to get into the marketplace of ideas and make sure that the truth prevails over the blood libels that have been spread by anti-Israel hate mongers.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, before we let you go, also, Professor Dershowitz, there are a lot of stories out there. This is interesting. I wanted to run this by you. Eric Adams' legal hopes in the corruption case could depend on Trump's victory. Maybe a change of, obviously, the U.S. attorney.
Well, that's interesting. I don't think so. I think that U.S. attorneys tend, particularly in the Southern District, Eastern District, good places, they tend to follow the evidence. I don't think we're going to see major changes. It's possible, but I wouldn't think anybody should vote on that basis. I think you vote based on what you think is best for America in general, best for the world, best for people that you care about.
Yeah, great points. And of course, we'll see where the investigation goes. Professor Dershowitz, thank you. We were cheering for Israel left and right here in the studio. Great news. Thank you.
Yeah, great news. Thanks.